Talking about drawing inspiration from your schoolwork, now that you're obviously not in school anymore, what are some of your pursuits intellectually that right now are sort of maybe informing a little bit of your work?
I mean, I'm just interested in stuff naturally, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people might lose that or it gets deadened, you know what I'm saying, throughout growing up. But I still got that childlike quality of like being interested in stuff. Ooh, what's that? Oh, that's how that work? Wow, oh, ooh, you know what I'm saying? I still got that. So that's just me. Internet, I get a lot of information from, just surfing the internet, and then I might stumble onto something, you know?
That might go for some of your subject matter. I mean, you will rap about like the life sciences, you know, where especially in the early 90s and mid 90s when gangster rap took off and, you know, Cube's whole scene, like nobody was talking about like the things that you were talking about.
Yeah, I guess I'm an original kind of, except for KRS-One maybe, and he's a Leo too, so. You know, but although he was doing it kind of from a different angle. But a lot of what Cube was rapping about, though, I was rapping about the same type of thing, but I just had a different way of coming across it. He's from a gang-infested area, you know what I'm saying? So obviously that's going to take precedence in whatever he's rapping about, you know? With me, I stay in the Bay Area, it's not really that bad, you know? We deal with more like, you know, drug turfs and stuff like that, as opposed to, you wear this color, I'm blasting you. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a different vibe up there.
Can you describe your scene in Richmond more? Like, talk about the early days.
Okay, I'm from Oakland, so, you know, it doesn't matter. Bay Area, pretty much the same. But the scene wasn't much of a scene, but the little scene it was kind of being built around either Too Short, who had records out at that point. So it's either based around that, which that was cool, you know, I was part of that too, or it was based around what we were starting to generate, or somebody like Digital Underground or something like that, you know what I mean? So you had that vibe out there, but it wasn't too much of it, and it really wasn't too much people rapping at all. Like I damn near could count who was rapping. You feel me? Like it was still very new. I don't even think the public in general even really knew about it yet. They knew it was something. They was rapping. They knew they was rapping, talking. Like, yeah, they rapping, okay. But I don't think they really connected it with like, this is another genre. You could have just threw it in with the rest of black music. That's one of them songs though where they be talking, rapping.
What era was this when the Bay Area was starting that you were just talking about? Like what year frame was that?
Okay, that's a good question. Ooh, 80s, early 80s, you know, mid 80s.
Who were some of the people that you were looking up to at that time musically?
Too Short, but as far as rap, Too Short definitely. Run DMC, Africa Bambaataa was a big one because he had Renegades of Funk, you know what I'm saying? Just off the Renegades of Funk, that was clean to me, and he had the graffiti and stuff in the video, like that was hard to me. Grandmaster Flash, The Furious Five, you know what I mean? You know. Those was like my favorites. The Fat Boys too was a favorite of mine too. I used to love the Fat Boys. They was hard. But the ones that really made me want to start rapping was Run DMC, and that was Sucker MCs. You know what I'm saying? It's Like That, I think, was the single, but like the B-side was Sucker MCs. Once I heard just that naked beat, no melody, no nothing, I was like, okay, this is the hardest I ever heard. No fluffy stuff, no lovey-dovey stuff, just straight hard. Like after that, I had to start doing it.
You know, it used to be when stuff first started happening, people like really worked at performing. Right. There was like a lot to the show, and then it like somewhere around the time the gangster rap stuff happened, really the show just became a guy standing there.
Right.
And I wondered now that like CD sales are down and those guys actually have to go on the road and perform. Have you noticed like an upman? Yeah, like the showmanship, like
well, not yet.
You know,
you know what? There always was that element that you're talking about with hip hop, because hip hop is like a street type of urban based music. So you always had them type of shows where dudes would come about 50 people from their clique, and all they do is just stand on stage and look menacing or whatever. You know what I mean? So I guess there's always that element, but it's just a different element, you know what I'm saying? If you a gangster type of dude or whatever, real gully like that, when you go to a show, that might be what you want to see. You don't want to see no sparklers or nothing like that.
Gangsters don't dance, they boogie. You know how that goes. No, but pretty much like hip hop always is really good with reacting to what's popular. So,
Right, because it's always about what's new and what's hot.
It's like you bounce off of that. So like when the gangster rap came out, it was almost after an era of like things they weren't rapping as much about reality. They're more, other Grandmaster Flash early stuff, but like, fools had costumes. Early hip hop had costumes. Coming from like the P-Funk and the disco era, fools had costumes. So when Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin started doing hip hop, there was like no costumes. We're the antithesis of costumes. We don't want, what are they doing? Costumes, rhythm, disco? No. Stripped down drums, jeans. Like there's a story in this book, and if you're into hip hop or just into the fascination of it, there's a book called The Big Payback. It's the history of the business of hip hop by Dan Charnas. And there's a story in there about the Beastie Boys. When Def Jam signed Beastie Boys, they got their advance, and they were like a punk band before. You guys familiar with that? They were a punk band. And Russell Simmons liked them because of how they looked, just tattered jeans, white t-shirt, jean jacket, whatever. He gave them the advance. They came back with like Puma fits and hats to the side and fat laces, and he gave them the business like, yo, get out of that costume.
Like it was almost like you gonna do a show with some black people and they gonna take it like you mocking them. Like that ain't what you wear, dude. Wear what you wear.
Right. So, a lot of rap, like the gangster stuff and other stuff after that, is like, yo, I'm not gonna dance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna move you like that. You are gonna listen and you'll be moved by the beats and what I say. And, somewhere we all fit in between, Sugar Hill Gang and Grandmaster Flash and that. Like, we're a mix of that. Since he's so funky, he likes, funk helps you move. Funk is a movement. It's hard to just stand there and nod your head to funk. It might hurt, like it's just hard to do. And the music that I like, I like the early hip hop era. I like crowd response. I like body movement. I've learned from watching shows that if there's no movement in the music, the girls go bye-bye. And they go to techno or house or something they could just dance to. So if you can't incorporate some type of party and cardio into it, then this is gonna be full bromance.
Straight chest beating.
So but that's just hip hop. But as far as the showmanship though, whether you're dancing or not, there's an element of presence and showmanship that I hope and I would imagine that the shows will get better when people start needing to do them more because we're coming out of an era of hip hop where hip hop, first more than any other music in my opinion, are very spoiled dudes. Like the artists, they just rap and they go backstage and they kick it and they go chase the tail or they party whatever. But like bands fully rehearse, like bands have to rehearse. They're all 8 of them in a van. They're 7 of them in a room. Like they never had that full like that royalty feeling. And so hip hop, you could just grab a mic and have your goons up there and just stand and deliver. Like bands, you had to rock. Like you had to really do something.
But then again, that's what they wanted to do. They was doing that anyway. So they got to the point where they was just so raw, like I was saying before. Like they did that for their own release. Nowadays, like you said, people kind of spoil. They're kind of not even doing it. Like they just kind of, I could take this occupation. This is easy to do. That's all you got to do? Yeah, I could do that, man. Yeah, I'm not even a rapper, That's just my other hustle or, all this other stuff people be talking about.
Yeah, so hopefully with the help of you guys, when you stop attending shows of artists that don't do good shows.
They come to ours. No, I'm just
But like you pay for the show. If you don't get a good show, then don't go back to that artist. Or at least let them know, like, I love your music recorded, but the live show did not give me anything or even gave me less than I got when I listened to music. You guys dictate what happens at shows. You dictate trends. You guys dictate trends. Like you dictate whether or not we come back to Iowa City or not.
Just be active in it, you know what I'm saying? Don't just be sitting on the sidelines. Like what you say means something, you know what I mean? So you should participate. Otherwise, you get whatever you get, basically.
Talking about some different eras in hip hop from when you started versus where we are now. Your new album, The Golden Era. We should talk about the format for that and how people can get a hold of it. I know that there's an online-only release and there's a hard copy available probably at the record collector right now.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm sure, just right down the street.
They still sell CDs here?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Is there a vinyl out of that?
Nope. Not yet.
Not yet.
There will be. There will be limited edition vinyl, but yeah.
Let's talk about the concept of the triple pack and also about, if you can, some of the themes that are important to you with this new release.
Okay, the triple pack came kind of just, you know, I wanted to have some kind of continuity to everything. All these records was kind of made around the same time. So it seemed like a nice thing to do, just put them all in one. And it just made the package fatter too. Sort of like, okay, you know, you get this, you get more value for your buck, you know what I mean? Some of it has been out there before, you know what I mean? So if you already have Funkman, whatever, okay, you downloaded it, but now you can get you a hard copy, whatever. If you never heard it before, there's your chance to hear it.
But what is the format specifically now? There's a hard copy in stores, and then there's a download that comes with that?
No, basically what it is Golden Era's 3 CDs. It
Right.
consists of Funkman, which we released a few years ago, which was an absolutely free album and still is on this website, called the Stimulus Package. We did that, and then we went from there and launched DellTheFunkyHomosapien.com. And with all the emails that we collected from the fans from Funkman, when we launched the site, we gave them a little give back. Was like, here's Automatic Static, which is a pick your price album only on Dell's website, but you could pay $3 to whatever you wanted to pay. But it was only a limited hard copy. If you spend a certain amount of money, you get a signed hard copy of that. And then he had Golden Era, which he'd made around that same time, which just we weren't sure what we were gonna do with it, and then we got approached by a good friend of ours who did a project with Dell and Tame One, Parallel Universes. He worked for this other label and he left and started this other label. I was like, I really want to do a Dell project, and I was like, okay, well, why don't we do this and see how this goes? And since we had Golden Era on deck, we're like, let's just make this triple CD. They were, like you were saying, they were all done in the same era. These two you couldn't get on hard copy, so now we put them all in one package. And then but it's pretty much that way. I think iTunes has a special package.
I think they got a version minus the other two, or is that the way it's done?
I don't know. You guys have to go on iTunes and let us know.
Yeah. I think they got a version with more songs or something like that. I don't know.
How about the content of the triptych, I guess, the triple pack, Golden Era? What are the themes that were important to you in that writing?
What did you say?
The themes are pretty much antagonistic, I guess. I mean, that it's basically my way of releasing frustration, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just aiming at whatever, you know, but I'm trying to be lyrical about it, you know what I mean? There's jewels or hidden secrets or whatever, what have you, is in there, you know what I mean? But you gotta listen to it to get to it. Really just styling, but that's what it was all about to me, you know what I mean? It's showing my personality, showing how much I know, you know what I'm saying? Running my mouth, you know what I'm saying? But keeping you captivated by doing it. Like I could talk good, you know what I mean? I'm rapping, you feel me? So that's what it's about. The music though is something that I wanted to bring the aesthetic feel of that classic era and bring it to now, but use the new technology and some of these new ideas to kind of enhance it a bit, you know what I mean? So that's how I came up with the music.
And that's the music on Golden Era.
Yeah.
Funkman was, you know, more of a funky, rhythmic, melodic album, right?
Right.
And then Automatic Static was a contrast to that. More industrial. How would you explain the?
So it's yeah. So it's
definitely harder and less rhythmical.
yeah.
It's like we find fans that love Funkman and don't like Automatic Static as much, and we find people who like Funkman is just too funky, and we just want some, great. And Automatic Static, the texture of the production is different.
Yeah, I definitely tried to. It's more along the lines of Golden Era. You know what I mean? But Golden Era has a little bit of both, I think. You know, so it's kind of in between.
And were you doing the production of both Automatic Static and Funkman at the same time?
So, yeah, kind
You said all
of.
three basically at the same time, but
Somewhat, yeah.
Did you use the 2 albums as kind of an excuse to group, like, you were like, I've got these 2 separate things going that I
Sure.
just can't see these tracks going on the same album as that track, so you had to split them up and try to do 2 separate things and try to not hurt people too much with trying to expand their brains into too many directions on one album?
I wouldn't say it's like that necessarily, because I wouldn't say I'm trying to dumb down or nothing like that. But like,
It made more sense together.
it made more sense together. Like, I feel like if you a consumer and you looking for a certain thing, you gonna want that. You don't want it to be too much different from what you expected. You know what I mean? So I try to keep it like that. Okay, if it's gonna be funk, man, that's what it's gonna be. I'm not gonna try to throw some other to the left on there. Then with Automatic Static, it's all rah-rah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna keep it like that, just to keep the thematic quality concise. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much what I was doing there. It wasn't like, I don't think you can handle it, or I'm talking too much for you. Like, I try to keep all my music or all my lyrics to the point where if you want to understand what I'm saying, you can, you know. And that's just a working process that I keep chiseling at, you know.
Right, and those of you guys who may not spend as much time around Dell as I do, but you can tell by all the accessories he has with him, is he makes music all the time. And so, you know, my perspective of him making those things is he gets bored easy. So he's making this right now, like halfway through that project, he's already thinking about, damn, I want to do something like this. So, but he has the ability to just be like, I'm just going to be making this to satisfy this for me while I'm doing this for here. But then by the time he gets to doing that, he's like, man, but I want to make something like that. And then by the time, I'm just like, literally by the time you hear a Dell album, there's like 3 or 4 other different Dell albums like on deck that we have. You know, we have Galen Driver, who is our social media manager, as well as everything else I could possibly think of having him do, graphic designer, road manage. But his tough task this summer, he's moving down to, he just graduated from college. Clap hands, college. Yeah, college, yeah, 4 years. He's moving down from Washington to the Bay to live with us. And his tough task is to spend enough time with Dell that whenever Dell records a track or makes a beat, he gets it from him and has it. Because so much, every time, like, we're on tour and, like, literally, we go to do a show. We go back to the hotel. Next morning, we're in a car. He's playing 3 new tracks he just recorded. I'm like, man, them's dope. Can I get those? Yep. And then I forget. And the next night, come back, there's 2 more songs. And that's on the road. Like, you know, imagine at home, it's just come back, here's an EP. And, like, I'm trying to figure out the name of the EP. Like, yo, you still had that one EP called? I don't know what it was called, but it was, he's like, and there's just so many songs and vibes back that, you know, I have to have somebody to be able to come and be like, I need that now, and just take them now, because it just builds up. So it's one of the most prolific artists you ever meet, and truly probably because the desire to create music and to make music is the most important thing to him, aside from living or eating off of it and breathing off of it or getting rich. So my job is to make sure that he can continue to do that so we can all have that good music that we need.